What's up, sports cards fans? Lions Like Sports Cards. We're going to do kind of a different sort of video today. I want to talk week one football. What an awesome week. Watched just about every game as much as I could while also hanging out with the family at the same time. Let's just start with some big surprises. The biggest surprise yesterday for me was the Giants. These two guys playing pretty nice games. Taking out Ryan Tannehill and the Titans. Look, this guy, I think it's safe to say, is really missing this guy. If you saw him against the Lions, he tore it up. But let's stick with the Giants and Titans for now. That game was really interesting. The Giants defense did a good job of kind of holding Derrick Henry in check. And Tannehill needs to develop a target. He's got to get Treylon Burks involved. And Tannehill, for me, just isn't that great. So, gonna be a tough year for them if they can't find somebody. And Daniel Jones looked pretty solid. I was pretty impressed with him. Made some Daniel Jones type dim-witted plays, that interception throwing to Saquon Barkley later in the game. But this is the big story for me. This is a big story fantasy-wise, and he is finally, it looks like, fully healed and looks like the stud that he is supposed to be. Big year for him contract-wise. It was really nice to see him dominate that game. He looked incredible in that game. That 2-point conversion was phenomenal. So if you drafted Saquon Barkley on your fantasy team, congratulations. You got a good deal on him, and I think he's going to be pretty good this year. He looks like his old explosive self. Now, we were saying that Tannehill missed A.J. Brown, and you know who loves having him around is Jalen Hurts. You saw A.J. Brown catch 10 balls, 155 yards, was clearly the best player on the field, other than maybe my guy DeAndre Swift, who looked awesome. The Lions kind of did what the Lions do, and let's not really kid ourselves. It wasn't that shocking. Get blown out in the early going, make a surge. Team's got a lot of heart, but then they just make some bonehead plays down the stretch and drop crucial passes. Josh Reynolds dropped a really crucial pass late in that game that could have led to some big things for them. He had a lot of field to work with after that. Tough loss for the Lions. I did not expect them to win this game, but sometimes you get into the game and you realize that, hey, you know, we can play with this team. I think they should have won that game. But I've said that a million times over the years with the Lions. It's just kind of the way it is. I've seen that exact game, it seems like, many times. Now, speaking of crazy games, and another big surprise, let's talk about Bengals and Steelers. This guy was dominant all over Burrow the whole game. So was this guy. Jamar Chase is the real deal. Those LSU receivers, him and Jefferson, are looking pretty darn unstoppable. So that kick at the end was crazy. You saw Burrow just 4 picks maybe, a couple fumbles, just turning over the ball nonstop. He's got to get better. All that being said, the Bengals would have won the game if it weren't for good old Minkah Fitzpatrick coming in and blocking that extra point late at the end of regulation on Evan McPherson. McPherson, who had a rough game. That was kind of the hot name for kickers last year, but boy, did he struggle yesterday. A lot of kickers really struggled yesterday. You saw Rodrigo Blankenship also missing that field goal. But this was a big surprise for me. Did not expect the Steelers to come out. However, the Steelers are going to be, it looks like, missing T.J. Watt, perhaps a torn pectoral. So something to keep an eye on there. Another game that was very shocking to me. I don't know if I have any cards to represent this game, but, well, I have one, I guess. It was Colts-Texans. If Matt Ryan doesn't play a little better, I'm going to want to see Sam Ehlinger, because, wow, did he look bad. These Colts quarterbacks come in and have not looked good. Wentz didn't look good for him. Rivers didn't look good for him. So you got to start to wonder, is it Frank Reich? Is it that offensive system that maybe he just caught lightning in a bottle that year with Foles? But they did not look good. The fact that that game was a tie was pretty bad. There's no reason the Colts should have not really blown out that team. The Texans are not a good squad. So very shocking. Another shock. Week full of shocks. This matchup, we had the 2 rookie quarterbacks going head-to-head. Now this one, Lance, I still think he's going to be good, but I got to attribute some of that to the terrible field conditions because no one was putting up good numbers. But you know what? Fields made the plays when he had to. didn't have a lot of yards, but didn't turn the ball over, wasn't careless with the ball, and had a couple big plays, one where he scrambled and threw back against himself. And he just did enough to win. And you got to really give it another week with Lance, but I'm starting to get a little worried that maybe he's a little not quite ready yet for prime time. So that was a surprise that the Bears eked out that game. Another surprise was that the Broncos, the new hotness with Russell Wilson in tow, went to Seattle. And Seattle's a really tough place to play, so I'm not surprised they struggled there a little bit, but they really should have won that game. Nathaniel Hackett, his first game as coach, wow, what a call to go for a 64-yard field goal. I know you got McManus. I know he's one of the biggest legs in the NFL, but just odds on, he's not going to make that. You just paid Russell Wilson $250+ million. Why on earth are you kicking a 64-yard field goal and not going for it on 4th and 5? That was a big, big mistake. I still think the Broncos are a good squad. I think they're going to be better, but they really had a hard time. And Geno Smith looked a little better than I thought he would as well. Other games. Let's talk about these two young quarterbacks going head-to-head. Mac Jones, here's my thing on Mac Jones. I've always kind of thought he was going to be a slightly above average NFL quarterback, and I still think that's true. He struggled. They don't have a lot of good pass catchers in that offense, and Matt Patricia, I will tell you, is one of the worst football minds in the NFL. Not a fan of his, obviously, for obvious reasons for what he did to the Lions over the years. So, yeah, I could see this one coming. I think they're going to struggle a lot this year. I kind of wish I would have gotten rid of a lot of my Mac. I do have a couple. I did sell a lot of Mac Jones, but I think he's going to be on the decline. Tua, if you held on to Tua cards from a couple years ago, he didn't look incredible, but Tyreek Hill, you can tell, is going to clearly improve that offense. So I think the Dolphins are going to have a big year. We'll see how it goes, but they really controlled that game for the entirety for the most part. And I like their coach. I like that guy. I think he's going to be a good coach for them. Good offensive mind. Now, let's talk about another supposed good offensive mind. The Cardinals head coach. His name is escaping me right now. I don't know why I can't think of it. Oh, Cliff Kingsbury. They are having a hard time. That defense was non-existent. They were going up against the Chiefs, and I think Patrick Mahomes reminded us how good he is. People were concerned with him struggling without Tyreek Hill there. I don't think it matters. I think Patrick Mahomes is good enough to make everybody better. He's going to turn someone else into a Tyreek Hill. Still got Kelsey. Kelsey's still going to dominate constantly. So I have a lot of high hopes for the Chiefs this year. I think that we're going to see an AFC Championship game rematch of the divisional game from last year with the Bills and the Chiefs. Those two teams just look incredibly dominant right now. Again, this is way too early to react to everything, but I think Kyler's going to continue to struggle. I don't like his mindset at the quarterback position. He just mopes a lot on the sidelines, and I don't want to see my quarterback moping at all. Now, cool story for me was seeing Khalil Mack going up against his former team, the Raiders. I am a Chargers fan. They're kind of my second team. So just have some family from San Diego and have always kind of rooted for them, even though the Chargers are, of course, in LA now. It was great to see Khalil Mack dominate the Raiders. Looks great again. If he is that player, watch out for the Chargers in the same way that if Von Miller is healthy and playing like he did on Thursday, watch out for them. They are kind of the other team in the AFC that I think will compete this year for the title. Let's talk about the Cowboys and Bucks. Some interesting stuff going on. Brady looked okay, was under pressure from Micah Parsons all night. The Cowboys should have clearly given the ball to Zeke more. He was looking ready to eat. But they were trying to throw with Dak. Now that Dak is out, they are going to be in big trouble. The thing is, Brady doesn't have to be great. I think we might see the Bucks do pretty well this year based on their defense and their running game, because Fournette looks great. And man, Julio Jones, it was awesome to see him making plays again. The Bucks, I think, are probably, for me, after week one, way too early reaction, the class of the NFC. There are some other squads there, but I really think no one else stood out yesterday in terms of a team that I think can dominate. Although, I will say, this guy dominated the Packers. Not sure why the Vikings were a home dog going into that game. I think it was easy to see that one coming. They're going to struggle. Rodgers, it's Rodgers. He will find a way to make these guys better. That drop, though, from Watson was brutal to start that game. So hopefully Rodgers can right that ship. We've seen this before. They start off slow. Rodgers tells everyone to relax, and they recoup, but they just don't have the weapons on offense. And I'm not sure why they weren't shadowing him with Zaire yesterday. He was all over the field. He was catching the ball, and he was even saying he was shocked how open he was. I'm not sure what the game plan was there, because Justin Jefferson is the one guy you want to stop. I'm sure they didn't intend to let him score 2 touchdowns and grab 180 yards, but I appreciate it. My fantasy team appreciates it. Thank you, Green Bay, for that defensive performance. Now, what teams are we missing? Ravens and Jets. Kind of knew that was going to happen in that game. It'll be interesting to see how Lamar keeps that one going. That was kind of looked like an easy win for them, and it was. Then you had, who else? The Falcons and the Saints. That came out really surprising. I'll say Mariota looked pretty solid. I think that he could be better than people think this year, although in the end the Falcons did kind of choke that away. Really probably could have won that game, but faded down the stretch. It was interesting to see Jameis Winston bringing that team back. And hey, if you want to get Taysom Hill, I don't know, in my league, in fantasy-wise, he qualifies as a tight end. And I didn't see tight ends doing anything in the league. Kelsey, I think Taysom Hill would have been your third-ranked tight end yesterday after O.J. Howard, who also had a fluke kind of performance. But I'm looking to add Taysom Hill in my league just because that loophole of starting him, who is going to get all kinds of weird quarterback, receiver, tight end type touches as a tight end. So I think that's about it. I've covered it all. What were your biggest surprises from yesterday, from this week? Week 1. So pumped the season is here. Can't wait for Thursday night this week. Chiefs and Chargers. What a game that's going to be. So yeah, feel free to comment, like, subscribe, all that stuff. Let's keep this going. I would like to do these weekly review videos every week if I have time for it and if you enjoy them. All right, everybody. Hope you guys have a great Tuesday. I will be back with some more stuff soon. Take it easy.